Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I edit on Final Cut Pro. If you haven't seen it yet, I have posted a how I edit on iMovie video, and that was one of my first videos I think, but recently I've upgraded to Final Cut Pro, and a lot of you guys have been asking what I use to edit and how I edit, so I just wanted to do a little bit of an updated video. In this video I'm going to be covering basically everything I covered in my iMovie one, just updated on Final Cut Pro, which includes the equipment, the basic movements, and the fun effects to add in. If you want to skip to any certain part in this video, you can go into the description and see all the different timestamps that I have listed for you, and you can click on any of those and it'll skip around the video for you. But without further ado, let's just get started. So the first topic I'll be talking about is the equipment that I use. So for actually filming my videos, I use the Canon EOS M50 camera. It is a really nice camera, and if you want to see the unboxing for the camera and all my accessories, you can go check out my video. Any videos that I mention in this video will be linked in the iCard above me somewhere, so if you want to see any of those, just click the I and they will be there. Also, all the links to everything that I purchase in this video are going to be down in the description down below. The second piece of equipment that I use is my laptop, and it is the MacBook Air 2020. And finally, the actual software that I use is Final Cut Pro X or 10, however you want to say it, as you know by the title of this video. Yes, Final Cut Pro is very expensive. It is $300 and it's only for Apple products, but it is definitely worth your investment if you're thinking about it. What I did is I got the education bundle, which comes with 4 or 5 other apps that you can use along with Final Cut Pro, and it was $100 less, so it was $200 instead of $300. But it totally depends on what you prefer, what you can do, all of that stuff. So if you don't want to invest in Final Cut Pro and you want to stick with something simple, I definitely recommend using iMovie. I have a whole video on how I used to edit on there. It works great, and yeah. Okay, so now I am screen recording on my screen on my laptop here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Over here are your little folders, and so with this purple highlighted icon type thing, it's where you can see all your video clips and all of that. This next one is for audio or sound effects or music as well, and I also got Logic Pro 10 or X, and then GarageBand and Apple Music, all that kind of stuff is here. And then the last section is text or titles and generators, which I will talk about later. Make a new project, so you just click on it and title it whatever you want. I'll just title this one Final Cut Pro Tutorial. And then you can choose all of these different types of formatting type things and click OK. And now you're into your new project. So I had to get a clip to show you guys how I edit on here. I didn't have any from any previous videos, so I just took a clip from when I was filming the intro for this video. Now that I have that on my computer, you can see it up close. You can see that this clip is zoomed in, so you can see right when the audio starts, when it ends, and all of that stuff. First off, to get your little time bar here bigger, because for me it's a little bit small, you can just hold down the keys Command, Shift, and then plus, and just keep clicking it until it's the size that you would like. So mine is usually at this size, but you can do it however big or small you want. Also, to zoom in and out kind of your clips, you can just take your 2 fingers and put it on your little touch thingy and just, you know, go in and out. And you can see on the screen recording how it kind of shrinks it. That just zooms out. So then the clip goes by really fast, and then to get into detail of the audio, your clip, whatever you want. So the first thing that I do when editing is I of course import all my clips, and then I do rough cuts. So rough cutting is where you just go through all your clips and cut out all the unneeded space in the clips or clips that you just don't need in your video. So for example, on here you can see I started the camera and I sat back and like adjusted myself to get ready to talk. We definitely don't need that, so I go to where I start talking, which is right about here. You can just click Command B, and you can see that I just split the clip and I don't need any of this unnecessary things, so then you just delete it and you have right where I start talking. So basically I just do that throughout the whole video until I get all the clips that I need for the finished video, because if you add all your fun stuff before you cut out all the unnecessary clips, it's just going to be very hard for you to compose a good video overall at the end. So I'm just going to go through and quickly rough cut this one clip just so it can be kind of like it would be if it were a full video. So for this mini little clip, I just cut out basically the whole thing. I just have 2 clips here from that one clip. But the next thing in the basics topic is the zoom ins, the cropping, and tracking. So all those words might sound weird or familiar depending on if you've been editing or not, but a basic crop looks like this. in your video. I like to use these to put a little emphasis on your video to make it more fun to watch. So I'm just going to select a little clip here that I want to crop it. The only part that you want it to be like cropped, you have to make it its own little clip. So you're going to split it from the rest, as you can see here. And once you have it highlighted, which means you click on it, you can go to this little icon here. And this is actually the transform icon, which is not what I need. So I'm just going to click the arrow next to it and go to crop. Once you hit crop, it'll look like this, and you can see trim, crop, and Ken Burns. So right now I just want to crop it, so you're going to click crop, and then you're just going to adjust the little corners. So if you want it really cropped, make it small and drag the box to what you want to be on the screen. But if you just want to put a little bit of like emphasis kind of on your video, you can just crop it a little bit like this. Hit done, and as you can see, it's cropped. So when you play it, it looks like that. The next thing is zooming in or Ken Burns, and I'm just going to do this same clip that I have here. Click on the individual clip that you want it to zoom in on. Click this crop button, and you just go to Ken Burns, click that, and you can see this start and end boxes. So if you wanted to zoom in, this is how it'll be set up for you. So you can adjust the end box to zoom in wherever you want it to zoom into. You can also adjust the start box if you want it to start a little cropped. Once you adjust it to where you want it, just hit done, and then if you play it, this is what it looks like. And then to do the opposite, you'll do the same thing, which is click your clip, crop button, and then go to Ken Burns. But you have to go to this top corner here, and you'll see these little arrows, and you just click that, and it'll reverse the boxes, so then it'll start zoomed in and then zoom out slowly. The last thing for this basic topic is tracking, and tracking I wouldn't say is something that I do in every video. It definitely takes more time than any of these other basic things, but it is worth it in the end. So tracking is kind of like Ken Burns, but instead of it just zooming into one place, it kind of moves around the screen. So click on the clip you want tracking to happen and put your cursor at the way beginning of the clip or where you want it to start tracking. Then you're going to click the crop button and make sure you're on crop, and then you're going to want to crop it a little bit for the tracking to actually show. You don't have to, but it definitely helps. And then I don't really have like my hands moving in the clip that I'm editing, but let's say it is, so we'll move it. And then if you go to this top left corner, you can see arrow, this like diamond shaped, and then another arrow. You're going to click the diamond shape. That like puts in that position for that second. On your laptop keyboard, you're going to want to click the right button or the arrow that's pointing right, and it'll move like fast forward a second or however much you're zoomed in, and then the next second you're going to move it a little bit, and you can see this diamond has an X by it now. So you're just going to keep doing that throughout your clip until you're just finished or you don't want it to track anymore. So I'm going to do this quick and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so once you get to the last little second of that clip, when you click the right arrow, it's just going to turn black because that means it's on to the next clip and you don't have any more to do. So then you just click the left back arrow to go back, click done, and then you will see your tracking happen. So this is what mine looks like. Mine looks really fast and wonky because I just did random movements, but if you just track like your hand movements, it looks way better. So those are all the basic things that I do in almost every video. Like I said, the tracking is not a every video type thing, but it kind of fits in with the cropping and Ken Burns, so that's why I included it in that section. And for me, there's literally only one more section of editing, but it also can take a lot of time. And that is just putting your own personality and your own fun parts into the video. This topic includes text, things that you just put on the screen such as green screens, rectangle boxes, shapes. I'll explain more of that later. Effects, transitions, sound effects, regular add-ins such as your intro, your outro, or social media things, and finally your music. All of these things are the fun parts of editing where you get to put your own little touch on your video. So the first thing is text, and to get your text, you can just go up to this little text button here and you can see titles and generators. So for titles, they have all of these options, but I just use this one, which is basic title. So all you have to do is click and drag it onto your video. Or if you want a little shortcut, you can just do Control-T and it'll automatically put a basic title on your video. So basic title is literally its name. It's called normal. The font is Helvetica. It's basic. There are only like 1 or 2 fonts that I specifically use in my videos, and one of them I have saved and it is basic. So basic The text is Helvetica New and then bold italic. The size, I just have it at a random size. I don't know if you've noticed, but I do use it a lot. And then I just have two other presets here. The purplish blue one is called clothing. I used it to describe clothing in a different video. And this one, which is called intro preset. If you haven't noticed, on my intro, my name is in this font, so I just kept it. The last type of text that I use is called typewriter, so it types across the screen. You can go to the search at the top and just start typing it and it'll pop up here. Drag it down into your video. All you have to do to edit the text is go up to this sidebar here, and right here is where you type what you want it to say on the screen, but it'll look like that. Now I'm just going to talk about things that just go on the screen. Like I said, that includes green screens, boxes, shapes, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to put a green screen on your video, first you have to just go to YouTube, search whatever you want, green screen record it, crop it, and put it on your computer. On my computer, I have a little folder here for YouTube things. So I have channel art, my watermark, all this stuff that I use for my YouTube videos, and I do have a couple green screens. So once you have your green screen that you want on your video, you just drag it onto your timeline here. I just realized there wasn't even screen recording that. Now we're gonna screen record. I'll show you guys now. This is my folder with all my YouTube stuff in it. Then you drag your green screen video onto the timeline above the clip that it's going on top of. And then you're gonna go to this button here, which are like effects. Click it. You can just go to this section called keying. You can see keyer. You're just gonna click and drag it onto your green screen clip. And then as you can see, the green background of whatever you had is gone and just the normal part of it is on top of your video, if that makes any sense. If you want to add little like shapes or boxes, like for, I'm not sure which video it was, I think it was my Brandy Melville haul, I put kind of like a receipt on the screen. I'll put a picture of it if I have it. But if you want to put something like that on your screen, you go to this titles section and then you're gonna click generators. I just use this color solid one. So you're just gonna drag it above your clip, and then their set color is this blue, but just go over here, click the down arrow, and there's all of these options to choose from. So I'm just gonna click like a light purplish pink. Go up here to this film looking button. Scroll down a little bit to crop. So you just scroll these things to make it bigger or smaller. That's how you kind of do it, and you can adjust it to however you want, and you can add as many as you want. That's the great thing about Final Cut Pro, is you can layer so many things on top of your video. On iMovie, you can only layer one thing on like audio and then add-ons, so it's kind of annoying if you want to be really creative with your video. That's why I love having Final Cut Pro. The next thing are just effects. So you go back to that effects button. If you don't remember what that is, it's this one over here on the right with the like layering rectangles. Click that, you go to all, and there's a bunch of these different effects that you can use. To use them, you just select what you want and drag it onto your clip. So some of the effects that I really like to use are camcorder. Sometimes I like to use bad TV on a normal clip, but I do like to use it for transitions a lot, which I will show you in a little bit. But there are some that I like to use just to add fun touches, but I definitely do not use them a lot. To find like the funny ones that people use, you can go scroll down here to distortion, and then they have ones that a lot of like funny YouTubers use, such as earthquake, which just makes your screen shake, fisheye makes your face, you know, look big, and underwater, which makes that, you know, underwater vibe. Okay, so for transitions, there are a couple that I use a lot, kind of. The first one is basically where you just use their transitions that they give you. So to find the transitions library, you go next to the effects button and you see this one that's kind of like infinity. Click that. I just search it so I don't have to scroll a lot. It's called slide. You can adjust it for how long it is. I make it basically the smallest or the shortest that it'll be, which is like 0.3 seconds, so that when you play it, it'll look like that, where it just goes really fast. Another good one that I use is where I use the effect bad TV, like I was talking about earlier. You can also do this to text to get the same effect, but I'll just show you what it looks like on a video clip. So basically what you're gonna do is, if you don't have like a little bit of space at the end of your clips where you just don't talk, add a little bit, like just a little. And then what you're gonna do is just split clip at the end where you're not talking that you just added. You're gonna go to the effects, and then I just search bad and it'll show up for you. But make sure you're in the all section, because then it won't show up if you're not. And then you see it here, and then you're just gonna drag it onto the mini clips, onto each of them. And then this is what the transition looks like. Also, this kind of just popped up in my head, but if you ever make a mistake that like you don't want to go back and redo, you can just click Command Z and that'll just undo whatever you did. I'm just gonna play a couple of sound effects that I've either downloaded or are just automatically on the sound effects section for you guys. Another part in YouTube videos is making sure you have a consistent intro or also outro if you have one, and obviously you gotta add that in. I add it in really close to the end of the video because I don't need it when I'm editing the actual like footage of the video, so I don't add it in till this step. And the last step that I do is add my background music or any music that I'm using in the video. Obviously to add it in, you just go to this audio section here and go to music. To add it, you do the same thing for sound effects. You click it and you drag it under your video like this. Make sure you put it under your video. Everything that is audio, music, sound effects, all that goes under the video, and any add-ins like text, the generators, which are the little like shapes, or another video or photo on top goes over the clip, and then effects you add directly on top of the clip. But anyways, I'll just play you guys a little snippet of all the music that I use in my videos. She's a Mona Lisa. Alright, so that is it. I'm kind of worried that I'm forgetting something, but I can always do a more in-depth tutorial if you guys want. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and if you have any more questions or requests for other videos, make sure to comment them down below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you want to be notified whenever I post. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!